Hi, I'm Marty Demko. Imagine that you've run your family business for decades. You're still doing it well, but you're getting nagging feelings that the time is coming when someone else should run the show. You're sad, you're relieved, and you're worried. Or maybe you're a family member who thinks it's time for the mantle to be passed, but you're scared to broach it. Rather than provide a prescription, I found that viewers may benefit more from a sample dialogue, and I will intersperse possibly generalizable principles in between what the protagonists are saying. This scene is, with a few details changed to protect anonymity. It's a discussion I recently facilitated. And to set the scene, it's a 50-year-old son who invited his dad, who has been running the family winery for almost 40 years, to talk about this issue of succession. I'm going to leave out my facilitator comments to make this dialogue more applicable to you, who likely is not going to be using a facilitator. They're at the dining room table, and the child starts, and again, the child's 50 years old. The child starts by saying, "At the risk of sounding like it's a movie, thank you for coming." See, it's wise to begin with a bit of mildly self-deprecating humor. And the parent responds, "I think I know what this is about. You want to take over my business." And the child says, "Do you have a sense of when you think it's time?" "Not yet." Sometimes what is not said is as important as what is. The child did not press for a planned retirement date. The child says, "So you think you're doing fine?" See, the child resisted there the direct statement criticizing his performance, which likely would have just engendered defensiveness. The parent says, "I'm doing fine, just fine, stop it." The child waits, and silence can often yield difficult to utter statements, but not in this case. The father says, I'm running it better than you would." The child says, "I understand. I appreciate you've taught me a lot, but to be honest, I'd be scared to take over now. You've done a wonderful job building this. I sure don't want to ruin it." Again, see, the child resisted being defensive, and he avoided direct confrontation. Instead, seeing his dad being far from ready to pass the mantle, let alone to him, he acknowledged his father's accomplishments. He used the word wonderful, and he used the emotionally bonding word scared. He says, "I'm scared," to describe his feelings about taking over. That communicated that he was taking the responsibility very seriously. That is, the son is. The parent says, "I'm glad you understand that you're not ready yet." The child says, "Do you have any thoughts as to how I could get more competent so when you do decide it's time, I can do honor by all you've created?" Again, the child put it on himself what he needs to do before even being considered for taking over. And he's demonstrated a sense of responsibility. He also appropriately used the word honor to give due respect to his father's lifetime of work. The father then says, "It's not just a matter of gaining more expertise in finance. I worry about your emotional intelligence and even more about your work ethic. I work 60 hours a week. You work 40 and sometimes even slack during the 40. The child said, "That's a lot to swallow. Maybe you do need to look outside the family when you've decided you want to pass the mantle." You see, as in martial arts, the son realized that sometimes you make more progress by first pulling back rather than pushing forward. The parent says, "I'm not sure I'm saying that." That is, that he wants to pass the mantle down the road to somebody else. But he says, "I'm not sure I'm not saying that." The child says, "To be honest, I'm a little embarrassed that you feel I'm not working as hard as that you feel that I'm not working as hard as I should. I'm not sure I want to sustain 60 hours a week. The younger generation, like me, does care more about work-life balance, and I want to offer that to the workers. But you're right, I could work harder." So, you see, without capitulating to a philosophy of work that the son didn't want to live, he showed respect for his father's position by offering an honest compromise. The father then said, "And on top of that, you would be wise to take an online course in finance and one on emotional intelligence." The child says, "I could see the finance course, but I sense that emotional intelligence can't be learned in a course or by reading some articles in Psychology Today. I worry that's hardwired." See this. So rather than saying yes, the son saying yes, even when he disagreed, he politely and modestly acknowledged the area of disagreement, and that opened the door to the dad offering another approach. So the dad then said, "Yeah, you may be right. It may be hardwired. But if you're open to improving your emotional intelligence, it's worth sending an anonymous survey to all your coworkers and key customers and vendors asking for their feedback on your communication style, including incidents when they felt you were being insensitive. Child says, that's a good idea. And if that feels insufficient, I'd be pleased, out of my own pocket, to find a career coach to shadow me for a day or two, maybe even periodically to provide in-the-moment feedback. Father says, good. I want to stress, though, I am not ready to retire, and when I am not committing to making you CEO. I may just gradually reduce my responsibilities and maybe increase yours. Child says, I understand. All I can say is that I want to try to get better and make you proud of me. The child has laid an excellent foundation here for getting a yes, and the parent will come away from the meeting thinking more about retirement and being more comfortable with passing the mantle to the child. The child's maturity also made the parent feel proud of his child and made him want to end the conversation being his best self, that is, the dad being his best self. So the dad says, more important than being proud of you me being proud of you is for you to be proud of yourself. And they hug. Whether or not you're involved in a succession, is there anything in this dialogue that you want to incorporate into your approach to communication? In any event, I thank you for watching. I'm Marty Nemko. Feel free to give us a thumbs up, and if needed, a thumbs down, to write a comment, to hit the share button and sharing on your social media, and or to subscribe to my channel. And again, in any event, I do thank you for watching. I am Marty Nemko.